right here on KCAA, which should be one of your absolute favorite radio stations since we are actually a privately owned station. And when you start learning the statistics about media, it can like blow your mind because this is the way it is, folks. Back before deregulation, back before 1970, we used to have 50 different corporations that owned different radio stations, and you couldn't own more than 7 stations. Then Reagan, he got elected. We changed it to, you can have 12. Then after Clinton allowed more deregulation, we have it now. We have like 4 corporations controlling 90% of everything we see and hear. And when you look at the stockholders, they're the same across the board for all 4 corporations. We have key stockholders that are the same. So basically, we have a handful of people controlling everything, controlling us, controlling what we think, what we're, what our values are, how we're going to vote, what kind of things we're going to buy. This is what they're just sitting up there in their ivory tower deciding, manipulating us in whatever way they can. Well, okay, maybe we do a little bit of manipulation here on Smart Health Talk, but that's because we want to save your life. Yeah. And we want to save our country and our planet for our future children so they have a beautiful place to live too, because there are so many things that I remember as a kid that I used to enjoy. And I was thinking the other day, because I actually live in fear every single day. I have neighbors on both sides of me that moved in within the past couple of years, and nobody was spraying any pesticides before that until they moved in. And these are doctors and nurses, Go figure. And they have done nothing but spray pesticide. Yesterday, again, I'm out there with my monarch butterflies, and there's that smell. The smell that just makes me cringe. And I get up in the morning, and it used to be, let's go sit outside and have a cup of coffee. It's such a beautiful morning, especially this time of year in this area. We know we want to take advantage of every one of those beautiful days because it turns into a scorcher around here. And this time of the year this is our time of year, boy. This is the best time. So just to go out and enjoy a cup of coffee or maybe have dinner outside. These are kind of things that we used to enjoy. Now, to go out, I am afraid to take a deep breath outside. What's going to be the next weird smell that I'm going to smell coming from somebody's yard that's decided, I'm going to go down, get myself a bottle of Roundup and take care of these weeds here, instead of just bending over and pulling it up with your hand. I can do a huge area. I had big old tall weeds, huge giant area. I just bent down and started pulling them up by the roots because then I know they're not going to come back. And you know what? Got some exercise while I was doing it. Got some sun, made some vitamin A while I was doing it, especially been making sure I get out there without sunscreen. And we've been trying to tell people for years, we got vitamin D deficiency in this country because they told everyone, oh my gosh, don't go in the sun unless you have sunscreen. Well, this isn't necessarily true. You can get safe sun and make vitamin D, which is the perfect vitamin D. I mean, it's much better than these supplements that you're taking because it's made by your own body. Absolutely perfection as far as vitamin D goes. Works perfectly on all the things you wanted to do. So I choose to go for the natural way and just give my skin some sun. Not so bad. Okay. Now we got like a lot of things in the news, a lot of things. Good news, bad news. Of course, there's always bad news. Unfortunately, Fox News, I guess, is all over Biden, bringing up his sexual predator history, which we warned about. That's the reason we were supporting Bernie Sanders, besides the health care for all, which I'm a registered dietitian with a master's in public health. So, of course, I want everyone to have health care for all. I totally get the fact that we have one person walking around out there that doesn't have health care and they're sick. They're out there, exposing all these other people. I'm glad people are starting to learn some public health behaviors that we've been trying to preach on for how long, saying, oh yeah, wash your hands, people, on a regular basis. There's other people out there not doing it. You know, the sneezing thing, you know, how things spread. You know, we're going to go over some of the new coronavirus risk factors that they're coming out with, some new things that they're seeing as part of the research, such as hemorrhaging, you know, and in younger people, in case you haven't heard that. I want to also try to help everyone understand how these tests work and also how herd immunity works. And you may have heard that there are certain countries out there like Sweden that decided to keep with certain rules like social distancing, but then they're going to allow more businesses to be opened up, but they still have to stick with strict rules, but they are going to, you know, allow things to start going again. And they say, we're going to build our own herd immunity here in Sweden. We already have a bunch of people exposed. We're going to let, you know, everyone get exposed. And in some ways, I agree with them. So I think there's a lot of confusion. And then these test kits. And you know, are they really reliable, kind of thing, and how they work? I think I can help you better understand that by the end of the show here. We're going to talk about some Supreme Court decisions that actually affect most of us out there. Anyone that needs health care, oh yeah, that's everybody. These are really important Supreme Court decisions, and you know, what does this really mean when we have a decision made on Obamacare, and there have been, and this was actually a calculated plan that was being implemented by the administration to destroy Obamacare and get rid of it. This was one of the big court cases that they were hoping to win, but unfortunately they did not. Okay, so going to be going into that. We have some other interesting things happening around the country here that I thought were worth mentioning. I gotta get my stuff in order here so I can get this information over to you. One thing, I guess we'll just go ahead and talk about this. I'm thinking about it, and it's pretty important to me. You may hear a lot a term, the Army Corps of Engineers. You may hear that they're doing this work or that work, and during Katrina, you know, you heard about them a lot. You know, who are they really? Well, they're with the Army. They're actually the feds. It's the federal government coming in, taking care of our infrastructure. And, you know, is this a socialist concept? I don't think so. This is what our federal dollars, the kind of things that it should go to. And our bridges, I mean, our levees, are we prepared for another hurricane? Is it going to flood massive amounts of houses? And this is an issue that we actually brought up several years ago, because we heard of places that were building houses where even if a flood came, the house was not damaged because it actually had a system of raising up when the water came so that there was no damage done to the house. So we thought, hey, that's a really good idea, because we're spending all this money replacing houses in places that are just going to flood again and again and again, especially since, reality check, oceans rising, people, yeah, climate change, real thing. Very scary thing. Everyone should be extremely scared. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like make people have nightmares or anything, but you should be extremely worried. These coronaviruses and all these other, the string of viruses that we have had come out of the factory farm system. I'm telling you, this is key. You want to know the source? That's it. Okay? It is this industrial farming system, and that is why Beyond Pesticides, great group. I highly advise you go check them out. They've been around since like 1973, fighting against pesticides, fighting for us to have a clean environment, to have healthy food that's not poisoning us every single day. They are challenging Monsanto in court right now about the system of GMOs and pesticides that they have dominated. You know what our system used to be? It used to be our universities were researching new hybrid seeds, not GMOs, not something with a patent attached to it, something that all farmers could use. And so our universities were researching these different seeds that would benefit farmers the most. And what we had was a huge diversity, huge. Now, what we have is this GMO pesticide system, huge industrial farms, forget the family farm. And I'm telling you, that is exactly who you should be thinking about right now. The family farmer. The family farmer is what will make this country strong. They're trying to get rid of them because they want to control everything that we eat, everything that we see and hear on television. These big corporations want to control us and how we think and how we buy. All right? We have to resist. Right now, we have to resist this, and we have to start getting good candidates. Good candidates to replace these corporate talking heads that we have in Washington right now and in all different kinds of forms of our government. We talk that sheriffs, the Colbert Report did a great job on sheriffs that run unopposed. And these people are tyrants. We saw some examples of some sheriffs down in the South that were like pedophiles. And like, oh yeah, we were mentioning earlier, Biden. Oh yeah, now, what was the graphic that we put out? Smart Health Talk. What are we going to do here? Change. We're gonna trade one sexual predator for another. Is that what we're going for here? Are we going to decide that no more sexual predators? When we know someone is a sexual predator, which could be a man or a woman, if we know that they're a sexual predator, do we really want them to be our president? Really? Do we? Does that pass our test? Sexual predator? Because apparently so. We're okay with Trump with all of the things that he did. And I mean, the fact that he was over, with a porn star, Stormy Daniels, he was over with her while his wife was pregnant. I'm sorry, to me, that's a game changer. She stuck around probably for the money and the citizenship. But for me, I'm sorry, that's a game changer right there. Yeah, I will. Some people, they're good at forgiving. I'm not when it comes to that. So anyway, and going after this whole, we've got someone like with charges pending against Biden, and we're choosing him to run as president with sexual allegations pending against him. This is the best we can do, really. I say, I wish people would just the way this whole thing went down. And like Bernie Sanders, the reason that he dropped out, a big part of it, is people were being forced to risk their life to go vote. And he felt that he could put an end to it. People risking their life. I mean, we have to change the system. And the mail-in voting, I'm telling you, I signed up for that. And I'm like, why did I not do this sooner? That mail-in voting is such a breeze. It was like the best thing ever. I did not, I was already used to not leaving my house. So this thing hasn't been too hard on me, but, not having to go and deal with it. I mean, yeah, some people, maybe they want the experience, of going standing in a voting booth, you know, and doing the whole thing with all the other voters and getting their little sticker. But you get a sticker when you vote by mail, too. They send you one. You can get one. So I voted by mail is what it says. And this is a great thing. It is a great thing. I'm thinking the president maybe is thinking about the postage because when you vote by mail, the feds have to pay for the postage. And, you know, not letting the state have to pay for that, or like the polling places like the state has to pay for. I don't know. Maybe that's not it. Some people say, oh, we don't want people to mail in vote because there'll be more votes. And that could like side one side with the other. You know, people, I'm sorry if I call that's abusive if I call you people, but you're my people, okay? You're my people. I want to help you. I want to take care of you. But, you know, collectively, as Americans, we can make good decisions. Collectively, when we all start getting our voice heard. Just like the census, we hear these commercials for the census. This is helping to make everyone be counted. This is for our entire country. This is for our community. Excuse me, I had to snap some of my... Oh, this tea is so good. Sorry, one more sip. Oh, organic tea, it's the best. I almost made some organic sun tea this week. It was so hot. So, you know, we have to collectively come together and make our voices heard. And a mail-in vote, or some people getting to a voting place for the elderly that don't have a ride, you know, but I tell you, those people over there that came out in Wisconsin, people are brave, man. You're definitely patriots getting out there and getting your voices heard. Unfortunately, most of the people that came out were voting for Biden, which we don't agree with. We certainly would never want Trump. And we need to start thinking about our senators, our Congress people. Let's start to find candidates that are really reflective of who we are today and the causes that we're facing today that aren't climate change deniers, that aren't science deniers. So, okay, let's move it on. Okay, what was the next thing that I wanted to talk about? Oh yeah, the big Supreme Court decision, that was one of them. As this has to do with health care, and if you listen to our show, you know that we want everyone to have access to health care. Because in the end, look how much money we're spending. Trillions. People aren't thinking about all the money that is spent on diabetes, preventable, heart disease, preventable, hypertension, preventable, cancer, preventable. Okay, these are our top killers. All preventable. And yet, we just allow people to progress. We give them a blood pressure pill and say, okay, on your way. Just take your blood pressure pill. Oh, yeah, and take this Lipitor, which, warning, Lipitor, all those ones that block cholesterol, when cholesterol is actually a big part of your brain. Yeah. Block the cholesterol, block in your brain. That's why it's causing Alzheimer's and dementia. So, give people their pills. Here's some synthetic vitamin D, too. You don't need to go in the sun and get safe sun and make your own vitamin D. No, just take the synthetic form of vitamin D because we got lots of people that make money on that one. Yeah, we got, you know, the makers of the vitamin D pill, you know, us. We're all making money on this. Instead of the free vitamin D, which is perfect for your body, which comes from safe sun, okay? This is how they're treating people. Here's your thyroid medication. There are so many people that are coming in with these thyroid problems. And all of these things come down to lack of prevention, lack of good nutrition. Our food is like empty. Amos Miller Organic Farm, that's where I'm getting my food from. We have a food co-op here. We go meet in a parking lot. People are in masks and gloves now, putting it right in our car for us. But I don't want to go to the grocery store. They are doing things. I'm not going to go into it on this one, but listen to our podcast on iHeartRadio. So just go podcast from the drop down, type in iHeartRadio. Find us on Facebook. We put a link to our iHeartRadio podcasts. If you want to do that, and please reach out to us, feel free to do that. Our email is elaine@smarthealthtalk.com. We raise monarch butterflies. BlueMonarchProject.com is our monarch project that we're trying to bring the monarchs back here, and we're trying to stop the pesticide spraying. So I want to talk about the pesticide spraying a little bit, and then we're going to get to the Supreme Court case. So the county wants to spray all of us. We are all supposed to take one, fall on the sword for the citrus industry, because they have chosen to use chemicals and pesticides. They have weakened the tree's immune system to the point where this little tiny psyllid, which shouldn't even be hurting it, is killing all of these trees. And not just citrus trees. Over in Europe right now, olive trees, same thing, same problem. What are we going to do? Just keep on going down this trail? Because the state wants us to do that. The state wants all of us to take one for the citrus industry. We're all supposed to get poisoned, have our homes poisoned, our citrus trees poisoned, to have orchards anywhere near a home sprayed, which then drifts right onto our property, ruins our organic gardens, ruins our organic fruit. We're all supposed to just take this to support the citrus industry. Just like all the backyard chicken farmers out there are supposed to take it for the chicken industry that is using all these factory farm processes and creating this new house disease within these factory farms locally here, which then spreads to backyard farmers. And so they're coming and testing the backyard farm chickens and taking them if they test positive. So do you see how all of this, the factory farms are responsible for coronavirus? They're responsible because the factory farms became big, put the small farms out of business. Small farms had nothing to sell. They couldn't even compete. They moved further and further out to the forest where these coronaviruses live, because the bats live out there and the wild animals live out there, but the farmers weren't supposed to be living out there. But they had no other place to go, and they had nothing to sell, so they're selling like this little anteater animal that apparently they want to eat over there. And the virus, the coronavirus, if it's in a bat, you eat a bat, you're not going to get it. That isn't how it works. It has to infect something else, and then we eat it, like this little animal, and then we get it. So the factory farms have created this problem, and we have had one after another. Right now, we have another avian flu outbreak, and I mean, we were talking, it was like 32 million just chickens during the last outbreak were destroyed. These outbreaks are so bad, and we have South Carolina has they've identified that they have found at a turkey farm, they found this avian flu again. It has not happened since 2017. And then over in Iowa, they're testing over there too. They're thinking it's going to like show up there. This is where they have major chicken farms, is over in Iowa. And so all this stuff is like happening right now. with our head of Department of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, who was voted the 2009 GMO Governor of the Year, was responsible for the biggest food recall ever, which was this peanut butter. And this avian flu, it was responsible for the biggest slaughter of animals. I mean, millions and millions and millions, just the chickens, 30 million chickens, because of this bird flu, which is all created inside of these factory farms. How is this affecting you? Not only is it affecting the quality of meat that you're getting and the risk from that meat, and what are we going to do? Sterilize, sterilize, sterilize. This whole thing is about sterilization. Sterilize everything. The farm, they are just like, they came after Amos. You know, we have organic farmers being forced to send their animals to these dirty slaughterhouses where these other dirty animals are. They're being forced to put citric acid and other sterilizers on their meat when they do none of this in Europe. And that's why they won't buy our stuff. Why can we not let our organic farmers process the meat like they do in Europe and open up that market for organic farmers to sell their food? If we're not going to buy it here, which everyone should be buying Farmer Direct for as many things as you can. They are doing things secretly at the store that I could go into here, but I'm not going to. But trust me, there is multiple things done, multiple poisonings happening to your food before it ever gets to the store. And they do this in the name of extending shelf life, which is all to their benefit, and none of it is benefiting you, because all you're getting is a stronger pesticide dose every time that you eat this food. Now, these bird flus, all of these are like the same kind of virus, okay? And these viruses are coming out of these factory farms because we are using antibiotics. 70% of all antibiotics sold and made in this country are given to animals, not humans. 70%. And why? First of all, it fattens them up more. We said this before on a show. Antibiotics make you fat. They destroy your gut bacteria. They leave your defenses down. They leave your immune system open. And they make you gain weight faster. Plus, these chickens are in horrific conditions, and they destroy their gut bacteria. They just keep giving them the antibiotics. See where it's like just like a vicious, vicious circle. And then they're creating all these pathogens within these facilities. I think that the dirty conditions, the fact that they've just passed new laws that allow the inspectors to see more and more chickens per second, like they're supposed to look, and they don't even want to stop the line. They never want to stop the line. When they stop the line of these processing these chickens, it costs them every single minute that line is stopped. When they've got them coming by at like hundreds per minute, you know that stopping the line for like 30 minutes to check on a chicken or something like that is going to be costing them. So they don't want to stop. So I guarantee those inspectors are, hey, we don't really want to stop the line. You know that, right? What do we got to do to keep you from stopping the line? Not that all inspectors are, on the tape, but they will use more than financial incentive methods to get people to comply. I have heard stories, and it's these big corporations, they didn't get to where they are by being Mr. Nice Guy. I'll put it that way. So we have created this coronavirus, and it's just going to, the whole climate change is making it worse. We've got to decide as a collective people. These corporations are making too much money and they're too powerful. How do you change it? How do you stop them? Well, we stop it by taking action ourselves. We don't need our government to take action. we can start right now by shopping Farm Direct. Finding local farms, they will ship right to your house if you want to, or you can do a food buying co-op like we're doing, which saves a lot of money on shipping and even food costs. At Ames Miller Organic Farm, just check that one out. Okay, so we have these coronaviruses and we're trying to contain all this. Why is Sweden going with the herd immunity? Well, I'll tell you why. And the thing is, with vaccines, we don't know. With the flu vaccine, what we have is mutations, okay? When they make a flu vaccine, they're guessing which flu strains that are going to be the most predominant. And they guess. It's just a gamble, all right? And if you listen to the news carefully, you'll see that they can actually tell if a certain strain comes from this country or that country. And why is that? That's because these strains mutate. They mutate into a different form. So to have a vaccine, that's why they're probably trying to make these vaccines off a piece of RNA that is just a little piece of the virus, not the whole virus, because we're going to have different strains, different mutations all around the world from this. So, first of all, we have that problem, all right? But they solved it, because the HIV drugs the HIV was doing the same thing. But I'm not exactly how that transfers over to what we're dealing with here. But I can tell you that, like, with the Zika virus, you notice we hear nothing about Zika virus anymore. We had no proof of the microcephaly. There was no proof. That was a $20 billion cash takeover of taxpayer money that went to one company that was supposed to make vaccines. And what they came out with was a GMO mosquito that they were supposed to launch on some innocent city as their test subjects. Those people were supposed to volunteer without even knowing they volunteered. We have to be diligent about everything that's going through so far. Already we see what happened. I would really like to know how many filters there were on who got the money. Who got the money from the government for this stimulus? Who really, was it people that benefited Trump the most? Were those the first ones to get the money? We really have to launch an investigation because I am very suspicious of this. But the coronavirus, when we are going to start, we're doing all of this testing. They didn't have reagents. You can have 1 million tests, but if you don't have the reagents that you need, it's not going to happen. Now with Zika, they kept coming up with all these false positives. And that's because with this particular type of virus, which I'm seeing it's called a flavin virus versus the coronavirus. A coronavirus has the little spikes and it looks like a crown. These other viruses, like the flu viruses, are different, but yet something that they had developed to fight viruses worked for both the corona and the flu virus. So the bottom line is the testing, because of the mutations, because of if you've had a flu shot, okay, see, this is the big one that no one talks about. If you've had a flu shot, then the flu shot uses a different method. That's another reason why they're going with the RNA and the little piece, because when you have a flu shot, you can get false positives because they're all the same kind of virus. And so you had these flu viruses injected into your body that your body is supposed to make antibodies against. And so you have these different flu viruses in your body, and then you're trying to test for another virus that's the same type of virus as these flu viruses that are now floating around in your body because you got a flu shot. So you can get a false positive that you have the Zika virus, that you have the coronavirus probably, or West Nile virus, these other mosquito-type viruses or tick-type viruses. So this is what makes everything really complicated. And that is why Sweden is probably going with the herd immunity. I want to explain another reason why they go with the herd immunity, and that has to do with the vaccines. Now, we were just talking about how vaccines are made different ways. Some of them, they kill the virus, and it's like they're giving you the virus, and it's a dead version of the virus. Okay, so you have the real virus in your body. This other, what they're looking at now with the coronavirus, is the little piece, all right? But what happens with vaccines, when you get a vaccine, the first time you get it, your immunity is up at a level that gives you strong immunity. But as the years pass, your immunity starts to go down. That's what a booster shot is about. Get a booster shot, it doesn't take you back up to that higher level that you were before. And with different people, it can react different ways. Some people, when they get the booster, it may not even help them at all. So we know that there are weaknesses with vaccines. They don't leave us fully covered, because even a booster over a period of time is not going to bring us back to full immunity. This is the problem. So even with vaccines, we're not fully covered in the end. So herd immunity is a solid. It's a solid that, when you're immune, you're immune. Where the vaccine, you're dependent on another drug to live, just like diabetics are dependent on insulin. When type 2 diabetes, you can actually reverse it and not be dependent on insulin anymore, which saves all of us a lot of money too. We know that it's saving us money, but it's also saving the possibility of blindness and amputations, and losing your kidneys, being on dialysis forever, which thousands of dollars per week. I mean, to have someone on dialysis. And we have so many people on dialysis right now. This is what's really costing us a lot of money. Plus, we know that in the last year of life, it's 90% of your healthcare dollars can be spent on the last year of life. So, hey, coronavirus helped me to get rid of all those people that we'd have to spend the 90% of their healthcare dollars on by stretching them out and keeping them alive. I don't know if this is the way of thinking by these people that, we want to make things safe, but even in Sweden, they're opening things up, but they're still keeping social distancing. They're still testing people, and we're going to be doing all of this stuff for who knows how long. We need to make sure that whatever we're doing for the testing, I saw where they just stand back and hold a unit and they can get someone's temperature, where there's no trash involved. How many of these kits, who's dealing with all this trash? Are they burning it? Can we invent things that even if you burn it, it's not causing any pollution? I mean, all this medical waste that's being created as a result of the coronavirus, what are we doing with that? So many things that we could do better. Another thing that, I was mentioning earlier, I'm sorry, I did get off topic a little bit about the Army Corps of Engineers, and said they were with the Army and they come and help make things better for the levees and stuff like that. Well, one of the things that they're doing at those houses, they're actually getting rid of a bunch of houses in Missouri. They're buying up land, getting rid of the houses because the wetlands, which I learned about in environmental health, wetlands are so important. They're important for when the river swells up and gets really big. It goes off into the wetlands, and guess what? No houses are lost, nothing like that. You have a really good plan. And now they see that they overbuilt. They need to move everything out further, and so I applaud them for that. I applaud them for like taking all these dams down that we didn't need. Those things were like awful. They were killing all the salmon. To repair them would have cost so much money. We don't need that electricity anymore. We've got solar and all kinds of other options. I say get rid of these dams. They've caused so many problems, and the loss of the salmon. And our environment, our planet actually has changed by putting these dams up, because the flow of the river actually helped our planet as it's, revolving out there in space. So, these, the coronavirus, the testing kits, the vaccinations, all of these things, we have to like think long term on how we're going to, because this is not the first one. It's not the last. It's gonna keep coming. We've got to stop these practices. Right now, the county wants to come and spray for the citrus trees. And these pesticides weaken our immune system. They weaken the bees' immune system. They destroy the bees' brains. Is this a smart thing to do, to be exposing us all to these pesticides in the middle of a pandemic that's weakening our immune system? And we may think, oh, well, they're going to come and spray. This is the state. We can't do anything about it. Yes, we can. You can start calling the state and telling them that, number one, I opt out. I don't want you coming on my property and spraying any pesticides. We start getting thousands and thousands of people saying that we opt out. That's going to really send a big message. Plus, another thing is, we can start calling all kinds of people. Call the state, call our legislators, say, stop this pesticide poisoning. We have someone that can reverse this whole thing, and we can get off the pesticides and have healthy citrus trees without any pesticides. We want to bring them in and start retraining everyone so we can shift over into this other system where we don't need pesticides anymore, and we're not exposing us and reducing our immune system, because I don't care if there's coronavirus or no coronavirus. We need a strong immune system 24/7. Yeah, because we're always being attacked. And I want my immune system top-notch all the time. I am so sick and tired of being poisoned, having my butterflies poisoned. These pesticides are the worst. I went on the webinar. They have a secret webinar. Oh, we're going to spray in Riverside. We're going to do a webinar. The only reason I heard about it is I was hitting up the top guy in charge of the spraying program at the state, and he just wanted to get rid of me. He didn't want to answer all my questions. So he's like, oh, well, you should listen to the toxologist. And myself and a friend of mine, Christina Lampe, who's a master garden, we were the only people on the webinar. It was ridiculous. They were not even talking to anybody. If we wouldn't have been there, they would have been talking to themselves. Nobody was listening. They go, oh, anyone have any questions? Anyone there? There wasn't anybody there. Just us. 2 people. All right? And when I started asking questions, first of all, in the introduction, he was like, oh, yeah, pyrethrum, which we're going to spray, comes from the chrysanthemum flower. Really? Does it really come from the chrysanthemum flower? He's trying to make it oh, it's just a harmless thing. Comes from this beautiful flower. Not going to hurt your garden. Well, it's a very toxic chemical. That's one of the things. And then I started asking him about the immunity, and he could barely even answer. Okay, because he doesn't have an answer. He's like, oh yeah, I did read reports about that, about them, destroying their brains. Is this what we want for our kids? Is this what we want for us? Personally, I want my brain. I want 100% of my brain. I don't want any poison to save the citrus industry attacking my brain or my immunity. And this is what the state is forcing us to do. We can stop it. We can stop it with our voice. And we can stop buying from grocery stores and all their, what food. I mean, this stuff is to me, when I have had the top 1% quality in the country, which I've had from Amos's farm, and the other farmers that I bought from the farmers markets through all the years, now that's quality. And I'm sorry, this body right here deserves the best, because I don't want to be in pain. I want to enjoy every minute of my life by having a good quality of life. And I have that when I have my health, not when I'm in pain and I can't even get up and hardly move. How am I supposed to go out and have fun and go explore and go on adventures and do cool stuff like that with the last days that I have and hopefully years that I have left? And people should be living their life like that every single day. I hope that this coronavirus experience has really been teaching us about that. And what are we learning? These viruses, they're not cut and dry. We think, oh, I had it, I got over it. But did you really get over it? Last week we talked about frostbite toes, corona toes. Now we're hearing this week about hemorrhaging, that young people are starting to hemorrhage more. And this could be like a double-edged sword. The hemorrhaging thing can be like really a game changer. It definitely weakens your immune system. And my research, I found that there are other viruses that we've had breakouts with that caused hemorrhaging. Yeah, the same thing that the coronavirus. The coronavirus is almost like a little bit of all the bad ones. It's like some of the characteristics that you had of those bad ones we're finding over and over again in other ones. But, we have, we talked about the slaughterhouses and this JBS. Who owns these factory farms? Well, Smithfield's is owned by a Chinese company. And they've been using us as their to create all this pollution and manufacture factory farm meat to go send home to China. Oh, and they're giving us some too, but how many workers got coronavirus in there? What else are they spreading in there? That's why they have to sterilize the meat. This is not normal. This is not good. Amos was slaughtering his own meat at the farm, and it was way safer than any of that stuff. All right, and we think, oh, well, these are American companies. No, JBS. I challenge you to go type in USDA app into Google. There's one app. Download the USDA app. Go into your grocery store, scan the barcode on the meat. There is a barcode on the meat that scanner, that thing that you can scan, not a barcode. I think maybe it's a barcode. Anyway, you can scan something from the app. It'll tell you right where that meat came from. Most of the time, the restaurant food, the food that you're getting there, JBS. Who are they? They're a Brazilian company that used underhanded dealings to take over and put all these small guys out of business. The very thing that keeps our food system safe is lots of processors, because we don't have these concentrated environments that are creating these antibiotic-resistant bacteria. And when you go, there were something like 40,000 people, maybe more than that died from antibiotic-resistant conditions. And this is coming out of our factory farms. What I'm saying is, bottom line, people, because we only got a couple minutes left, we have a chance to change this. We have a chance to stand up and say, no, you will not spray poison on the friggin' citrus trees and weaken our immune system, and do that right in our neighborhoods. Right? Come onto our property and just spray without our permission, which is what they're doing. We can start to do that. And we can start to say, you know what? I am not going to shop in your mega grocery store where you've manipulated this meat and poisoned it to increase the shelf life and do whatever you have to. I am going to bypass you. I'm going to go farmer direct. I'm going to give the money to the farmer that's only getting 10% right now because everyone else is sucking off of them. And that's why they can't make any money. So let's give them the money. Let's give the money to the farmer. Screw these mega superstores. that are poisoning our food just so they can increase shelf life. All right. That's what I had to say today. If you stuck with us, thanks a lot for listening. And I hope you're ready to take action, because that's what we need. We need people taking action. And that means don't just give your dollars away. And don't just put anything in your body. You deserve the very best. And when you get that, it's going to change. It's going to change how you feel, your energy. You're going to start to get your body back. You're going to start to get your health back. You're going to appreciate every bite of food you eat. I'm Elaine McFadden. Thank you so much for listening. This is Smart Health Talk. Bye.
Right before me, my newfound hippie side once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.